Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Broman Clash right here, and today, I want to talk about a topic that everyone deals with. That's the topic of pride and confidence. People always dealt with pride, people always dealt with confidence, but what does it truly mean? Today, I'm going to give my take on it and how the way people should really think about how the way pride and confidence are not one and the same thing, even though they both deal with self, but one deals with a more of a negative aspect than the one that deals with a positive aspect. Now, pride, they consider it one of the greatest of the deadliest of sins. But pride kept some people going. But the thing about pride is the fact that pride, it's not good because pride, it won't permit you to grow. That's the reason why pride is so dangerous, because pride will not permit you to grow. It's gonna it's gonna stick your growth, mentally as a person, not physically, because there's some tall ass motherfuckers who actually have too much pride, but yet their minds won't advance when they need to. Then pride, that's that would that is what fuels celebrities. I ain't gonna lie. Ego and pride, they're a dangerous combination, especially when it comes right down to celebrity thinking, the mind of a celebrity, especially when you break down the word celebrity, because celebrity, the part of celebs, that why you think they're called stars, because you get celestial and then bright stars or bright hopes. But then you see how arrogant they are, and you thinking like, are these really stars, or are they just or they just have glitter on them, like Edward from Twilight? And trust me, I don't want to watch that shit. But one thing I'm gonna say is this: pride, is good to have confidence in yourself, but not pride. Confidence, you can admit when you're wrong, but you're not afraid to say, hey, look, this is me, and I'm gonna keep on moving, because if I don't improve, then who else is going to look at me? And it's very funny too, because people say like pride is dangerous, and it is, because like I said before, like a few seconds back, that pride stints growth, mental growth. See, physically, there's some short people, yet they have enough confidence to say, hey, look, I may be short, but at least I have enough confidence to take you on. And that's where confidence comes in. It comes from the heart and the mind. See, look, pride, like I said, it's a lock. It's a lock that's gonna hurt people, man, because not many people, they put on too much of a face. They put on too much of a facade. They would rather act as if nothing's wrong with them. They would rather walk around as if like they're gorillas in the damn jungle. They are not like that. And on a plus note, a lot of things that pride has done got people killed. And some of you may be like a bit of history fanatics or history majors, or people who are force fed history. Now, let me give one notable example of pride. Napoleon Bonaparte, during, I think it was the Battle of Waterloo, or was it was somewhere else. And he was marching his soldiers into the thicket of the battle, into the wintertime. It was very cold, very, very frigid. Yet he wanted to do it because he was. I remember some people say he was the emperor of France at that time, or a very high ranking person at that time. But then his soldiers, like they were marching into the battle while being ill prepared. They were not able to handle the cold. They were not able to handle the distance. They were growing hungry. Sometimes their bones would break, and then they couldn't even move. And then by the time they reached the enemy's, playing field, their home, they're not there. They burned off the supplies. The soldiers were dying off. And because of Napoleon's pride, you know what happened to the soldiers? He lost that battle. Or what? It could have been some other battle, but you can correct me on that one. And I appreciate it if you would. But take that with an example and look at that as a historical version of pride. How the way, his ego was too big for his short. Even though he's 5'7", that's not short to me. Short is like 4'3", or midget person size. That's that's short. Young kids are short. He's not that short. Now, sorry for that little brief sidetrack, but when it comes right down to confidence and pride, they are two different things. Like I said before, one is more positive while the other one is negative. Now, we focused on the negative, pride, and how the way pride can corrupt the mind, stunt mental growth, in terms of like, the ego. And then there's confidence. Confidence is something far, like, vastly different from pride. Because I'll admit it, I felt the differences before. With pride, I struck my own ego a bit. I'm like, yeah, I'm an honor student. Yeah, I got all that. Yeah, I got prestige and all that crap. I felt, man, I hated that. And then, looking at confidence, because now all of a sudden I attain true confidence. And you know what, how I feel? I feel great. I feel, happier. I feel like, you know what, man, as much as I feel like I can handle things on my own, I can wholeheartedly admit that, hey, I may need your help. And that's not me begging. That's me, genuinely asking, hey, look, can I have some help? And, there's no shame in asking for help. Now, when you have confidence in yourself, you know what is right and what is wrong, but at the same time, you're humble enough to say, there are some things I cannot do on my own. And you would just be like, yes, this is me, but I have to improve. Confidence will say, keep on pushing yourself, but don't forget that you have limits. But if you can push yourself over those limits, then good for you. Keep on going, because you got a long ways to live. But, with pride, you may, you're gonna die, because pride will not allow you to understand certain problems. In fact, when it comes right down to pride, pride will not permit you to say I'm wrong. With confidence, you will say, I'm wrong. And I'm willing to accept that, hey, there are some things I do not know, and if you can school me on those things, and I will say, thank you. With pride, you just be like, man, why should I listen to you? I got my own life. I don't need to listen to you. I got my own way of doing things. And yet, your own way of doing things happen to, get tons of people killed, got you richer while your citizens are suffering. And then, you don't see no real benefit except the fact that, you're going to earn people's scorn. But with confidence, people will pick up on that and say, hey, you know what, man? I like you. You're confident because you're sure of yourself. You know what to do. I'm proud of you. He's my homeboy. He may be, the oddest apple out of the bunch, but if you take one bite out of him, he's good for you. Yeah, seriously, they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, as long as it doesn't have any worms. As you know, we have too many bad apples in the bunch. Don't worry, man. Don't worry about it, y'all. Stemming on back to confidence. Sorry for that, little intermission. But confidence is positive. Sure there will be days that you feel like, man, what the hell am I doing? Why should I do this? Is this even me, or is this even good? Why? Because confidence comes over time, while pride is something that comes with you naturally. Because over time, you begin to either overindulge yourself, or you begin to say, you know what, man, enough. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing and just gonna lead myself the right path. And what's the right path? It's usually the path doesn't take that takes the least amount of pleasure, but the most amount of progress. That's the right path. See, now, don't get confused because wealthy people that you see on TV, right here, this little box that is filled with entertainment, but also filled with lies. Now, let me get this to you straight. Those people are overindulgent. They don't even bother to understand or to even try to say, you know what, man, what I could be doing could be wrong. They'll just say, nah, you know what, man, this is how I'm gonna do things. I'm confident. I got the wham bam, Sammy Dam combo, all that crap. And then you just say, okay, so you say you're confident, but yet we can clearly see you're arrogant. One notable example is Kanye West. Yes, Kanye West, a few other those, rap moguls. I put that in quotations. A few of them, and also another bunch of like athletes. Back then, like when I look at Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, when I look at athletes back then, Jim Brown, you know, they had confidence because they say, hey, look, they may act boisterous, up on stage. They'll be like, yeah, I got this, but yet they stood up for something. They were humble enough to say, you know what, man, this is not about money. This is more about other people living. Instead of me trying to say, hey, look, I'm not going to try to act as if, oh, I'm the man on top of the world. That's not me. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say, hey, look, you know what's me? You want to know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say, hey, look, I'm going to do the right thing. The money, some of it you can keep, but I'd rather help my people. There was Sam Cooke. There were a myriad of other people who took time out and said, you know what, man? No. If I see injustice, I'm going to speak up on it. I'm not going to stand on the sidelines and earn some money while other people are suffering. That's not cool at all. And one of the greatest examples of self-confidence from, transition from pride to confidence was actually, yesterday was his 50th anniversary since his assassination, Malcolm X. He was a hustler. He was, he was a drug user. He was a thief. His pride, the fact that he was, in his mind, his ego clouded what most of his judgment could do back then when he was Detroit Red. Then, in prison, he transitioned himself from pride and he broke his shackles of mental slavery right there. Because, pride is like a mental issue more than it is physical. Then, over time, he began to learn, he been taught, he listened, but, he still kept that, outgoing, aggressive personality, that's his charisma right there. But, he transitioned from pride on to confidence. He believed in himself, but you know what he did? He said he was humble enough to say, I know when I'm wrong. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wasn't the most perfect man, but at least I changed myself. And you know what he did? He helped his people out in the process, which is beautiful. And then it's real sad when people will rather slander his name and then say that he stood for violence. He was a racist. But there were other people who were blinded by their pride to not see the difference, and then they were total racists themselves as well. I never heard about people talking bad about J. Edgar Hoover. Well, except us, those who actually have skin color and all that stuff, and those who actually were personally afflicted by him, and afflicted by the laws, and afflicted by what was going on. Man, we were too prideful to say, you know what, man, We were too prideful and too scared. See, a prideful man is actually a scared man who don't even know what to do. But a confident man will admit to his fear, but will not let it cripple him. That's when we transition from a prideful people onto a confident people. Then we transition back into a complacent, prideful people. That's the sad thing. When you look at your own people and then say, man, we used to have confidence. Now we're just too prideful to say, look, we got to put all this drinking and partying, all that shit aside. I understand that we should indulge ourselves a bit. Me with video games, I ain't gonna lie to you. But, when it comes right down to pride, when it comes right down to confidence, people will rather look at the dollar than to look at the message. People will rather look at the material good than to look at the future. I understand, some of us we will indulge ourselves, and I don't blame y'all. Don't see, look, it's in human nature to feel as if we should be entertained, but don't overdo it. That's the greatest sin. Even if you do too much good, sometimes if you do too much good to the wrong person, they will just screw you over. That's the thing. Don't stop doing good, but just be careful who you do good towards. Because, people nowadays, it's real sad when people would rather take advantage of other people and then complain on why are people so evil towards each other. And then you just look at that person and just say, you have the nerve to ask that, especially when you don't even do anything except sit on your prideful ass and just complain. And then give yourself all the credit talking about, yes, I did all that. Man, if somebody don't put a noose around your neck with that little cape that you have on, man, you will realize that you don't really have much to sit on. I remember this quote, and this is true. Nowadays we stand or sit on the shoulders of giants. But it's real sad that people don't even realize that, but yet they choose to say, "Oh yeah, this is what we do. We are people." And should we be proud of who we are? There's a difference between being proud and being prideful. Being proud, that's an exclamation of how much you are. Pride is just a negativity formed from false courage. Yeah, keyword false. It's pseudo. It's not really, it's not really there. Except, until you feel it. See, when you feel it, there's a difference between feeling something and knowing something. When you feel something's off, sometimes your intuition could be right. So you tend to stay away from it. But when you know something's off, you just say, you know what, man, I'm just gonna walk the other way, right over there. Then, how does all of this, all of what I'm talking about, especially in the matter of history, perspective of history and all that stuff, come into play with pride and confidence? See, pride and confidence, like I said before, thrives off of two different energies. One is mostly negative, the other one is mostly positive. But at the same time, they both push you forward. But the real question is this: which one do you prefer? Or which one will get you down to the most prosperous path? Keyword prosperous. Not, lucrative. Prosperous. Will it be pride or will it be confidence? It's your choice. But in the end, it's your life. And with that, YouTube, I say this is Roman Class signing out. Signing out, out one at one. Hope you have a great day today. And seriously, You know, keep it real, keep it up, keep it easy. Seriously. Later.